Good afternoon. It is time now for Remembering Connections with Cindy and Nicole. Want to invite you in and say hi. I'm Cindy.
I'm Nicole.
Hi, Nicole. Nicole is actually happens to be on the road today. Where are you actually, Nicole?
I'm in Utah County in Lehigh at Autumn Jensen's doing some healing in private healings, private sessions. But also, I am doing a seminar on Friday. So,
oh, great! All right, so you're doing a lot of healing, and then do you have an event going on too? Is that what you're saying? Event on Friday or Saturday?
On Friday night,
okay.
7 to 9.
Awesome. How do people get, if they're up in the northern Utah part, how do they get a hold of you? And if they want to go to the event, how do they do that?
It's Eventbrite, and it's Araya Gathering of Light.
Uh-huh.
And also we have links on the Facebook page, Energy Healing by Design.
And you can check that out. Also, right now, you can look at the Facebook page if you're listening at 100.3 FM, Radio St. George. You can check us out on Facebook at Radio St. George. We just got kind of a little bit late start because we're trying to figure things out. You can see the guy behind me, Sean, wave, Sean. Sean Donovan, who is the professor here at Dixie State College, State University now, is actually helping us out. So anyway, we're coming up on Easter, Nicole. Pretty exciting, and I have to ask you, because I think that, spring is here. We were talking about spring last week, and we talked about the energy of the newness and all of that. So don't you feel like there's a little bit of extra energy when Easter rolls around every year?
Well, this year I can say yes. It seems like there's such an energy, a cycle of ups and downs, and I don't know if it's attached to the Easter, but it's definitely a flow of energy that I've already had a gathering here on Sunday, and I even in the workers or the healers that I was working with, they've all felt a shift. So it's very interesting that you ask that.
Yeah, no, because I think that there's just a lot of stuff. It just feels like it. I mean, again, when the robins come out and everything's budding and the flowers are beautiful and all of that, you can tell that the things are changing. But for some reason, it seems like everybody's life, if it's not an upheaval, it's completely changing. But the upheaval is a change, and we shouldn't be too worried about upheavals either, should we?
No, because right now, even in Mother Earth, the seasons are different. Like down here, it's snowing, that's not a common cycle for right now.
Right.
And then us in St. George, as you know, the weather's just been spontaneous, and so I trust that Mother Earth is going through the same things that we are, and so just being able to breathe in and breathe out and stay calm during, or stay aligned during this has been quite the.
So that's my next question. How do we stay aligned? Would you suggest something for us to say, okay, let's stay grounded. Everything's going to be all right. Because I really think everything's going to be all right. It always seems to be. But in the middle of this, in our physical bodies, we can kind of freak out a little bit, right?
Yes. I just connect myself to Mother Earth every day and to the divine creator. And I just remember to do that every morning, even more so now that there's this ripple of energy just moving through. And being comfortable in a chaotic space is really important. How to do it is kind of up to you and how you move and how you perceive things. But one thing I can suggest is be okay with change, because everybody's going through it. And I feel like some people are waiting, and they're going into hiding, and or kind of secluding themselves, hoping that it's going to go back to what it was before. But it's not. Everything's changing in the earth and in the energies around us. So it's like kind of moving through that with grace.
So they have this idea sometimes when we're in like a pattern, right? We get up, we do the same thing every day, we go to work, whatever we do, right? Go take the kids to school, whatever it is. And it feels like our normal. And now all of a sudden, it's not normal. But what you're saying is it's a new normal and we have to get used to it. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. Okay. I see when people accept that it's just feels different, and I think that we get so stuck in that if your body doesn't feel 100%, then you're ill. I don't trust that.
Yeah.
I trust that sometimes you need rest time. Sometimes you need to step back and just observe things for what they are.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes people aren't really ill, but they get ill so that I heard this from you, are on their back. So to see the sky, right?
They have to look up. Yep.
Yeah. And that story that you told me seems to hit me at home after working with people and then seeing that their body says they're ill, but their spirit says they're not. And I'm like, wow, you are where you're supposed to be right now to find gratitude.
Right. Oh, and that's what it is about, because we've talked about the joy part about it again. We are going to be taking phone calls, by the way. If you want the phone number, it's area code 435-879-4100. But we just wanted to kind of talk a little bit, and I wasn't sure because Nicole's been really busy this week and healing, and we haven't had a chance to talk, and I want to make sure that if she wants to do a little meditation before to kind of calm everything, we're going to do that. But we do need to stay, and you've talked about this forever, in gratitude, in joy. And if we can get to that, I guess, like that happy thought, Nicole, the happy emotion in the middle of this chaos, in the middle of, oh my gosh, my life is changing, I'm freaking out, I don't know what I'm going to do, instead of jumping into fear, which honestly, I think it's almost something we learned in society to do when we're in our physical bodies, is you're saying, instead of doing that, shift into some form of gratitude or some form of joy, right?
Yes, I do. I as I'm observing people's behaviors and things are changing, but not the way people expect them to
or want them to be. Right? That's it.
Yeah, and they want to go back to what this is really interesting to me is they find a new or a remembered and heightened state of being, and they're really excited to see things in a different light, but they're so excited to go back to the life and the energy that wasn't working for them.
Okay, that's true. That's true.
Yeah,
and you can't, it's kind of like, I think it was Wayne Dyer that always used to talk about this when he would do a lot of his spiritual talks. He was an amazing man, still is, I'm sure, somewhere. But he talked about the fact that when you have elastic, and if you really pull out your elastic, and it snap it so that it can never go back. And that's kind of like that. If you expand yourself, right? And then the elastic, it can't ever go back to, like what you're saying, to your normal life, because nothing will ever be the same, because you have shifted and you have evolved and you've become different and better for yourself, right?
Yes. Yes. And that's why it's interesting to kind of go through processes with people and realize that is the pattern that they do. So the next phase is probably being in love with you. How do you fall in love with you so that you can now, because your most energies are really to put out into either for what people think of you or is an outer image. And really now we get to step into being, what does it look like to go within and fall in love with you?
Yeah.
Then everything around you starts to change in the ways that you don't want to go back to the old energy that was comfortable anymore, because this new feels so joyful.
And so if you're wanting to go into that spot where you want to fall in love with you, that means you can't really judge yourself anymore, because we have that kind of like that broken record in our heads sometimes where we're our own worst critic, for sure.
Yeah, I guess you have to love that the possibilities more than your old story that wasn't working.
That's a great thought. Thank you for that. So for people just tuning in, welcome to Radio St. George 100.3 FM to Remembering Connections with Cindy and Nicole. You can check out the Radio St. George on Facebook. We're live right now, and if you want to watch it later, you're going to get a chance to do that. Nicole, I am actually in St. George in the studio, and Nicole is actually up in northern Utah, been doing some events and some healing up there. And Nicole, if they're just tuning in, this is Nicole Ashton. She has quite the story of why she is such a healer as she is. If you want to kind of give the Cliff Note version, if someone's just tuning in for the first time, would you share your story, Nicole?
Yeah, so I died 9 years ago and I was able to go to the white light for 10 minutes and get some instruction and of what I'm doing now. But in this white light, I was able to feel that masculine, feminine energies that is full as mercy and delight. And when I came back, I got to realize I get to choose how I'm coming back. It's my choice to come back, and it's forgiveness. So I did. And then I came to a body that wasn't functioning, so I had to learn to be mobile again, walk and talk. Mm-hmm. And at this process, I got to really relearn behaviors and stay in the white light. And then after I got into the real world, then I got to learn I got the opportunity to balance the two worlds and not be of it. And
that sounds difficult.
It was harder than coming back to my body.
I'm sure it was. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I can't even imagine. Go ahead, keep going.
You're fine. Yeah, so I came, or after I learned to walk and talk, read and write, and started sharing my story, then I came to understand that people are really in need of realizing that they are on purpose and that there is something bigger out there. And I realized everybody, all 7 billion of us that are here are on different perceptions and different understandings, and that's okay. And it's about meeting people where they're comfortable at. And so that has been really my process. And then kind of when I learned that, I stepped into the healing, and people just started showing up. And then I got to go through, the heckling or whatever that looks like to you, and go back into kind of not knowing if this is what I wanted to do, and then got opportunities to come back to the light and see that this is what I want to do. And I'm going to share the light, and I'm going to show up and trust that the people that are ready will listen, and it will assist them into their awakening and finding their inner truth and their inner light. Mm-hmm. So.
Okay, so do you want to kind of just take us through maybe a little bit of a calming meditation, if you will. And so if somebody's listening right now and they're driving, don't close your eyes or whatever, but maybe you can still feel the energy even if you're busy doing something right now, because if you don't feel it now, it'll catch up with you when you have a moment. Is that right? Because you told me a little bit about that before.
Yeah, spirit and energy have no time. They don't understand it. That's just
how would that be? They would never make an appointment, right? Okay, so if you can, calm us down, and then let's take some phone calls at 435-879-4100 after we're kind of done with the meditation, and see what people are thinking about, and like what we talked about at the beginning of the show, what kind of change they're going through. Is that good?
Yes.
Okay.
So I'm just going to explain a little bit about the energies that we're going to be embracing and allowing. Okay. First, I like to take responsibility for my own healing or my own sessions. And so you can say these words out loud or to yourself. Say, I ground myself to the earth.
Okay.
I am of Creator. And I accept this transmission for my highest good.
Oh, that's great.
So what this is doing is now each of us, even though I'm assisting in sharing the energy, we are in our own space and our own stuff. So we're clearing our own stuff.
Our own bubble.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. And so I'm going to just call down this from your higher self, which is the white light above you. Mm-hmm. Down this mist of white light. So just imagine that this is available to you, and you can allow it if you choose to. Anytime? Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes. When you were born, this is what you came with, this complete alignment of knowing and complete alignment to everything that's above and everything below. And then through life's experiences, you moved away from it, as you should have. Now it's time to come back. So as this mist moves down through your crown chakra, which is your the top of your head, it'll move down your upper part of your body, your lower part of your body, and down to the heart of Mother Earth. Why I say the heart of Mother Earth is because there is, when you connect to Mother Earth, there's ley lines and things like that, and we don't want any more confusion that the ley lines hold. So we're going right down to the heart of Mother Earth. I mean, imagine if you can do that. Mm-hmm. can. And then the energies move up through the like crystals. Imagine crystals that take millions actually of years to grow. And so you're bringing that energy and light through those and through the dirt, through the clay, into the grass, where it's getting nutrients to now move through your body in like breath and water. And as that moves up your feet, you can even like breathe through your nose like you're breathing through a straw up your feet. You can feel this energy move all through your body. And then if you're feeling like it, you can ask for a bubble of unconditional love to now be moved around you. And this is a beautiful, beautiful pink. Beautiful pink. Now just breathe into that feelings of being in alignment and letting things go that no longer serve you. Mm-hmm. When you do this, your body is allowing energies. Your body can only handle so much energy at once, negative or positive. That's just how the mechanics of your body is. And what we're doing now is letting the stuff that doesn't serve us go down and out of our bodies. Okay. And then letting intelligence or our self move down from our higher self and creator right into the heart space of who you are. And this is where you'll feel gratitude and joy right in the heart. And then you just breathe and you just allow that to be your center. And it feels different.
It feels way better.
Yeah.
And this is how we can deal with the upheaval that's going on in our lives right now.
I can speak out of experience that I do this morning, noon, and night, and sometimes after clients, I'll do this exact same thing. And mm-hmm. sometimes it's different. Sometimes I'm guided to bring different things in, or be in the stars or the cosmos, just wherever with dolphins. We play with this, play with your connection, because that is where the joy is, and that is what life is about, is to celebrate. So as you're going into this mindfulness or this meditation, don't have an expectation of what it should look like or feel like, and definitely don't think if you wander off you can't come back.
Okay. If we do wander off, how do we come back?
Breathe and just remember that heart space of gratitude. And I always I forgot, or what grounds me too is to take my two index finger and my pointer finger and put it on the center of my eyes, and then right at my heart, and breathe in and out. Stay and that there.
So if you get like really chaotic and you don't know what else to do and you can't think about what you just said, you just do this.
And I think of something very much in gratitude, like, what am I grateful for? Let's feel it. And then I tap those two spaces, and it's like your brain and your heart brain, they communicate. See, we have a brain in our heart. It has the same pathways as our brain, but we've never been taught to use it.
It's so true.
We exercise our brain all the time. We're taught since we're little, but we're not. Most people don't even know that there is chambers in the brain that are similar to, the heart brain that are similar to the brain. Mm-hmm. And that's science or heart math or things like that also teach that.
Okay. Wow. All right. Well, I'm feeling better. You feeling better, Nicole?
Okay. I am.
So if you would like to call, please feel free to do that at area code 435-879-4100. That's 879-4100 this afternoon. If you would like to check out more of who Nicole is, maybe you want to have a healing with Nicole, you can go to her website at energyhealingbydesign.com. That's energyhealingbydesign.com. But you can call right now anytime at 879-4100. It's area code 435. We just invite the phone calls in. Maybe you can talk a little bit about frequency and energy, Nicole, because I think a lot of people, some people are comfortable with the word frequency when you're talking about light work and healing. Some people are comfortable about energy. Are they one and the same?
So when I learned about him was when I was moving back through, when I died and came back and saw the structure of the universe and how harmonious it was. And it was in a symphony of color, vibration, and energy, mm-hmm. all embraced in one movement or one sound. And so when I see it in the body, it's like this symphony of celebration that they all support each other. Through energy, you find frequency, and it's just different levels of music, radio waves. All these things are a frequency, but in that is an energy as well. So you're just combining. Our whole entire body, our making is energy and frequency.
Okay, so that they are separate, but they work well together, kind of. Would that be right?
Well, I don't necessarily. They're pretty much the same thing, because to send frequency, which is a sound.
Yes.
Frequency is a sound. It has to be supported by energy.
Right.
So they're one and the same.
Okay.
Just a different frequency. So it's energy vibrating at a different frequency.
Okay, so now you're saying vibrating. So then, what is a vibration with it? Sorry, I have to ask, right?
No. Vibration is like when you see the sound waves and anything, they have this, this sound, this gong, or this vibrational pattern. And then when you add frequency of sound to it, it's always supported by energies.
Now, I would imagine, because you are who you are, and because you came back and just walking in the light all the time. If you're just tuning in, this is Nicole Ashton, international healer. She passed away. She came back. She came back with all these gifts and walks in the light all the time, sees everything. Frequency is sound, right? And energy works with frequency. Vibration for me sometimes, even though I think with you can probably see vibrations, I think maybe a lot of us in physical bodies can actually physically feel the vibration. Do you think that's fair to say?
Yeah.
Like even internally, not necessarily even on a physical level. Like if there was an earthquake, you definitely feel that vibration, right? But if I don't know, there's something where you can just, we talk in society, that they have good vibes or they have bad vibes, which is their vibration, right?
Yes. Yeah. What the body emanates is like a ripple effect of a vibration. And then you add internal energies and frequencies, and it moves out. And again, I don't read books because I couldn't even read until a couple of years ago because I had lost my memory. But everything I've learned was from patterning and sacred geometric signs and the feeling the body, feeling what that feels like. And I can tell you the body responds when all three of those facets are working in cooperation. So how, for me, I'm sure scientists or something have a distinct definition. For me, it's pulling in all of them, the vibration, so that it excites you to even have something introduced to your system. And then the energy that is yours, you found you, and then there's this frequency that you emanate and of love or other things, but we're focused on love. So we're going to keep love.
Yeah, let's keep love. That's great.
Yeah. So, but that is how in synchronized things work in the body. Mm-hmm. So again, I only can speak of what the thousands of clients that I have seen, that inside of their body, when all three of those are in harmony, mm-hmm. their body has the innate remembrance of their healing abilities, because their immaculate way to love. All this stuff starts making itself present when those three, even if they're separate or if they're the same, it doesn't matter. Together they work magnificently, and I've never really focused on being apart. So does that make sense?
Yeah, because it's all, they all make one.
I believe so.
Yeah, and so when you're talking about healing abilities, then you're saying when we have all that balanced, and a lot of it is staying in joy and staying in gratitude. If we have that, then that means that our bodies can kind of heal if we're having some kind of disharmony in them, or a disease or something that's hurting us. If we can align all of that up and stay in gratitude, chances are our body's like innate intelligence, if you will be able to heal itself, right?
In my experience, that has happened. I can tell you, I might have shared it before, but going into a hospital when I first started working, and I was assisting people on crossing over, I would go in the hospital room in their state of being, mm-hmm. and it didn't necessarily help them only to clear their chakras and get ready to cross over, but then when I realized that in a cancer patient, when I would go in and I would be at their level, that they would have just a okay time here. Like I would go and I would sit with them, and I would and they felt better, and they would say that they wanted me there. But when I decided to go at a high joy frequency, because I could see in this other whole different situation that when I went into joy, they had a really amazing rest of their life. So I brought it into this cancer client, and I went in with joy. I didn't go into that frequency, vibration, and energy that they were at. I went in with a higher frequency and vibration and just assisted them the best I could. And they came out better without the cancer. They didn't have the cancer. And then when I started working on people distantly, I would notice that same thing, that they would feel it differently if I would stay in the frequency, vibration, and energy at a really high state, rather than shift to just going into where their energy matched. So that was where I matched their energy at their suffering. That makes sense?
Yeah, it does. And I want to ask you something. I just want to remind everybody that if you are listening, if you would like to watch us talking, you can do that at Radio St. George on Facebook. This is Radio St. George 100.3 FM in St. George, Utah. And Nicole and Cindy with Remembering Connections. Nicole is actually up in northern Utah. I'm down here in St. George in the studios. You know, you're talking about the healing, and then talking about, healing at a distance, too. By the way, you can do that with us if you want to give us a call at 879-4100. That's area code 435. And how do you do that? I think we've talked about this before, but if people are just tuning in, I know as we continue our show, as we're getting more and more people, I think it's worth mentioning again, because if someone's just going like really, how can she be on the phone and heal me? Or how does she do it in general? Like, I believe she crossed over, she came back with gifts, but how do you actually do it? Is there a way for you to explain that to the rest of us?
So I learned through clients, everything I learn is through clients,
right,
is that I go to the white light and I imagine everything around me being just almost exactly like when I died. And then I picture that person moving up into their higher self and matching me. And then I can kind of see what they need and what they're telling me they need, and move through their energy that way, and then watch it just move down into their physical body. And that just works for people. Yeah.
That's so interesting. But I mean, they can be like, you're in northern Utah right now, and I could call you and from St. George, and you could just say, okay, let me just do this, right? Because you can actually, when you're talking about spirit knows no time, right? You were saying that earlier. It probably knows no space and dimension then either, right? It's just kind of just all there. Is that what it's like for you? Seriously?
Yeah, interesting. I have a story from today, because
share it.
My little client today is age of 4, and he's was having spouts of anger and behavior, and spouts of just really happy, and they were understanding. And today I started working with them about three weeks ago and she came today so that I could actually meet him in person. And she shared with me that he didn't have any of those episodes, and that he was the most amazing child. And then today he comes and he was a little afraid of me at first, because I would move my hands and his tummy would tickle. You could just tell. And then I would go to move his back, and he was just tickly. So we went outside and we ran and grounded out the energy that had been brought down for lineages and some other stuff that actually was stuck to his solar plexus or his mid stomach through the land.
Oh, wow.
And then she come to tell me that the house has been, it had energies in it that made all of them feel uncomfortable, and that he wouldn't go upstairs, and all these different things came out. And we were able to, this kid, she said, she's like, from the minute she came here to when he left, and I just went out and played with him in the grass and moved the energies that way where he's comfortable. But he was day and night. And it just completely surprised her that first she was surprised that he had to change without me touching him.
Right.
And then a total transformation just in the hour that we spent together. So
was he able to verbalize any of it to you?
Yeah, He talks pretty. The thing with him, and I'm finding with other kids, is he was really already very connected.
Oh.
And he was born not really wanting to come here, because they're really excited to come here, and then the suffering, the collective suffering energy that they come to, they don't appreciate.
Yeah.
And so I
can understand why.
And I have a lot. So that was those ones here. And I've had some at St. George too, where they bring them at that same young age, and they're having problems either wetting the bed, or they're having problems connecting to other kids, or fits. And I'm finding that once they're aligned and they feel safe to be here, then they've stopped, and they have stopped. They've stopped wetting the bed and things like that, or they've lessened. And so it's just these the kids are just having a hard time adjusting. They come from this beautiful, beautiful light, and they're come here with a purpose, and then it's not what it feels like. And I can witness that because I did it, just coming back from the light and forgetting the suffering here, but going to the light, coming back through, wanting to be here so bad, and then my body didn't work, and I had to relearn everything. I had to relearn not only the way of being in this body, I had to learn that people are not kind. Some people aren't kind.
Listen, when you were up, so to talk about that, because I'm fascinated by this. When you were up in the white light, when you passed away and you were in the white light, and you could look at the earth and you could look at the people, all the spirits down here in the bodies and all of that, could you tell that they weren't kind? Some of them weren't kind then, or did they all just look like you could just see their spirits and they're all just magnificent beings or whatever? What did that look like? Because those 10 minutes probably seemed like a lifetime in a way, but probably super short as well, right? So do you remember any of that? I'm just fascinated by that, to look at the earth and see how beautiful the earth is from that perspective, but then to look at all the beings that are inhabiting the earth right now and what that looks like from that perspective.
So when you're moving back through as I was moving back, and I could look and see like my dead body, and I was in that state of knowing I was coming back, you do get a kind of a vision of what it looks like. And instead of seeing you're good and you're bad because your lights are different, I saw you're here and you're here on purpose. You're just serving the yin and yang, but something got confused in the behaviors. We're all supposed to have separate or different frequencies, but somewhere along the line, the wars and the things like that had occupied the darker, what we call darker shadows spaces. Right. And that's all human behaviors and human things that we've done to
ourselves.
There's all these other influences, but when you come to this understanding that we're all here on purpose, and you stop following what shadows look like, what dark looks like, why this person has this attachment, why this person is so light with an attachment, why this why, when you stop trying to figure it out and you're just like, we are all on purpose. How can I help you find your purpose? What does that look like? Yeah. Because I can tell you all day long what I see for you, but until you see it, we just have to work with what feels good to you. And if it doesn't feel good, don't do it.
So that's the thing. That's it right there. Stay in gratitude. And if it feels good, do it. If it doesn't feel good, stop it. Right. So if we're all on purpose, and we all have a purpose, and I'm guessing we all, not only with our purpose, probably came here with gifts, all different. If someone's listening right now, and saying, you know what, I believe that too, but I have no idea what I came here for. Like, I have no idea. What would you suggest that would be the first way to kind of help awaken that in them?
So this is my most asked question. And just this week, actually being here, I decided, when I'm thinking about everyone says, your purpose because you're doing it. I'm all, Every day I wake up and I ask to be shown I'm like, you know what? I think we have an expectation on what the word purpose means.
Yeah. Like, it's supposed to be maybe grandiose or something. And every single thing is grandiose, really, when you think about it like that, right? It's like, what did Mother Teresa say? To do small deeds with great love. You know what I mean? And then that's all grand, right? So the same kind of thing. Yeah.
And I'm like, I wake up every morning knowing that I get to show up. I get to bring the light down, and I get to share it with whoever's ready or whoever's, asks. Other than that, I don't know.
You don't know what your purpose is?
No, I know that I know that the world is a better place when we come together and we work together, and as a collective, are kind to each other. And I know that always in any situation ends up in a really good community, a really good earth. Let's start small. Like you said, Mother Teresa, let's start small. She went from village to village till she got really big. And we're doing that now with these small acts of kindness. Right. I mean, several of my friends are doing things in suicide and Bo
addictions.
Bo Babka is completely in a world of, and why I bring him up is because he shows up every day and pulls people out of the darkness, and he's overlooked, which really is interesting to me.
Like why people aren't noticing that.
The little small acts of kindness, but guess what he's doing? He's blooming into for me, I get to see the energies that he's bringing in for the homeless and the kids in suicide and depression and PTSDs. Mm-hmm. That's a collective kindness.
Yes, absolutely, it is. And you never know when you're doing something like that for somebody that one person is going to shift everything. I mean, we all They always talk about that we all matter, and that everything that we come here to do, we shift everybody, ourselves and everybody else, and then it shifts the planet, and then it's all happy, joy, right? Yep. Hopefully.
Yeah. Yes, and that's this work that you and I do isn't always we say enjoy on purpose.
Yeah.
What we do isn't easy by any means when you're you're an empath that is carrying everybody's stuff for them.
Yeah.
Becomes overwhelming. But guess what? We show up in joy so that we can assist you. We've had to practice that. It didn't come easy for us, and there's still a struggle in it some days, but what we do is we still show up, and we still have the intent that's show up in joy.
That's right. And then it'll all work out. You just keep showing up. We were talking about, having the gifts and having purpose. Sometimes I think, because I've thought about this a lot lately about gifts, because I think sometimes if we all have a purpose, that we use our gifts for our purpose. Usually the gifts are usually kind of our toolbox, if you will, for our purpose. But I was thinking about this, about how you know what your gifts are, because I think that's a really hard thing. And I came up with this in my own head. Back me up on this, Nicole, if it's right. But I because this has been true for me. I have found that the gifts that I seem to have, because I really wasn't sure, are the things that I think are so easy, because they're so innate and they're so easy for me to do, that I think everybody can do it too.
Yes.
Don't you think that's right? That if you really don't know what your gifts are, what is it that is so easy for you? And then when you think everybody else can do it too, they honestly can't do it, or they can't do it like to the degree you know how to do it. And don't you think that would be the way to say, okay, now, so at least, because I don't think we just have one gift. I think we have several gifts. But I think if you look at your gifts, right? Or thinking, what is my gift? If you think, okay, even organization, man, some people are so great at organization. Not everybody is, We've lived with some people that aren't organized, let's be honest, right? So I think that's probably a start to maybe try and find your purpose, if you can kind of look at what maybe your gifts are. And if something is so easy to you that you just always assumed everybody else could do it too, and then now as you're getting a little bit older and walking on the earth plane a little bit longer, you're going, wait a minute, not everybody can do this. That would be your gift, I would think. What do you think?
I do. I think that's why people discovering them, finding you, falling in love with you is so difficult, because they were born with them. They were born with these amazing energies. They're born with these gifts. Mm-hmm. And they don't realize that they don't feel their own self. They don't feel their own energies. And so first, when you trust and you start, like a practice of finding you would be to trust that there is something within inside of me that is great, because I was created and I'm here. Mm-hmm. It's just trust. Like
talk about showing up, right? I'm here. Yeah, I showed up. Mm-hmm.
So just see little steps like that. You're amazing with what you do, and the stuff that you get to work with every day. It takes a talent.
Yeah.
And then there's Sean, and he can do all the stuff that he's doing that we learned today, which neither of us would. That's a gift to be able to pick that up like that.
And he knew everything with all the technical stuff. It's really true. And I think, again, it's easy for him. So he's just assuming that, no, promise you, many people, including me, don't even have a clue to that. So when you're talking about loving yourself and you're talking about your purpose and you're talking about gifts and this is all the way we can walk in joy and love ourselves in the world, how do we... we hear about intuition all the time. So I think that if we get in touch with our intuition, and I would like you to talk a little bit about what intuition is for those of people who are listening or watching and that don't know what intuition is, and explain what intuition is, and then how do we tap into that? Because I think if we get a chance to really know ourselves and be guided with our intuition, we'll find our gifts, we'll find our purpose, we'll find the joy, we'll find the gratitude. It'll all just kind of line up for us, don't you think?
Yeah.
Intuition, that's a good one.
It's so different for people because they've talked themselves out of it. But if you can go back to when, they say mothers intuition all the time, but men have it just as well when you decide to get off the freeway and then all of a sudden there's a wreck, or these little things that they're not paying attention to is intuition. But it's the gap of kind of that knowing this space that you're in and practicing on it. It's about giving your credit, oh my gosh, did that really happen?
Yeah.
I swear I thought that happened. And then you talk yourself out of it. Mm-hmm. It's about really just being present with, we're all intuitive. We're born with these senses. We have been limited to the 5 senses, but we were born with much bigger. That's why we fall when we're kids.
Yeah.
That's why they don't have that limits. We are able to sense your mom's emotions. As a child, you're able to do that. We wonder why they're so cryy or they do this. It's because they're literally feeling everything around them. Mm-hmm. And so,
which is exhausting. It's tiring,
Yes.
You know that more than anybody, probably.
You too.
Yeah, I do. I have to say, you and I both, we can relate to each other about that because it is a little exhausting. And I think that, I think there's more and more, like you were talking about the children that you've been working with this week and here in St. George, more and more children that are coming in like that, highly sensitive. We hear about the highly sensitive individuals. I really honestly believe that the majority of us, if not all of us, are. Some of us just have it blocked because of whatever happened in our childhood or whatever, the beliefs were in our family that we believed, so we had to kind of put up some energy blocks or something, and we're not. But I just think we're all, if you always hear we're all one, we're all connected. If we are, then we all have to be that sensitive, right?
Yeah, it's you. What has life happens, you just move away from that, and it is on purpose because you wouldn't experience life's really moments. There's just these moments of emotions that we have. We have this fluctuation of emotions that create us to be magnificent beings, mm-hmm. and we wouldn't be able to experience that with a guideline every day.
Yeah.
So some move more away from their emotions than they would like, but it's time to refine them. It's time to remember that you are on purpose. You're this miracle that the world's been praying for, and then God seeds you in here, and then you don't think you're great. That's just interesting.
And then so not only do you have your own stuff, then you find yourself a lot of times, whether it's in your community or at work or in your family, or maybe you marry and you have another family, the extended family, you find yourself now in groups of people. And sometimes that feels good and sometimes it does not. Always lessons to be learned with all of that, for sure. But there are some times that you're brought together, I think, and both of you use your purpose and your gifts for a bigger purpose. Does that make sense?
I think everybody is right, especially right now with all the shifts in the world, actually Mother Earth's shifting, that we're all frequency match. Vibration and frequency, you match your frequency. that's just how it is. That's how physics, that's how whatever you look at any testings and that anybody's ever shown me or brought to my attention. And vibrationally, if you match a vibration, it's going to find each other. Yeah. And so I feel like that with Mother Earth in such a high emotion herself, that people are being gravitated across the world. I've had people that literally traveled. This lady just moved from Florida. She packed up everything and she said, I don't know why, but I knew that I needed to come here to St. George. And I mean, I felt the same way when I moved.
Did you really? Wow.
And when she's met me, she's like, I know why. I know why. She's like, this is where the vibration that matches me is at.
Oh, that's so interesting.
And that's not been the first time. And people sometimes they don't have a clue what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But they feel it so deeply in their hearts. That is a vibration. Mm-hmm. That's a vibration I'm emanating of love and joy and kindness that it doesn't, the stuff that I'm saying may not have, they're shelving for a little while because it doesn't
make sense in their brain or their physical body, but somewhere in their heart and their soul and their spirit, it makes sense.
Yes. Yeah.
So,
yes. And that's what they share.
How do we deal with people if we're trying to keep in that space of the gratitude and joy like we've been talking about today and, just be happy and show up. And like you said, it is a practice. Like, I'm going to choose joy this second. The last half an hour maybe wasn't so good, but I'm going to choose joy instead, that kind of a thing, if something's happening out in your life. But if you're dealing with somebody that's around you that is in straight up fear, and fear takes a lot of faces. I mean, it can be depression, it can be anger, directed at you. It can be all those things. How do you combat that when you're trying to stay in your space of love and of joy and of gratitude when you're around that? And you have to be, because I mean, the first thing is like walk away, right? But if you cannot, and you have to sit there for a moment, how do you do that?
It's really hard for me to answer that because I move away from people. I don't like to be uncomfortable. Yeah. And I know that if I'm uncomfortable, they're uncomfortable. And that in the long run, it's going to be a separation of anger or resentment. And so I try to move away from them. But when you are in that situation, honestly, it's such a practice. And this is what I have learned, is it's such a practice for you to be in that same frequency. And even when you think that you're okay, you're like, I'm okay. Then you find out that resonance that you are both in, mm-hmm. you go in to hang out with other people and they can feel it.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it's almost like I don't know how to answer that question because not that I have been in those, but this last week has been really rough on me. I had been not rough, but an adjustment for me to be in an energy that I didn't understand at all, and that they didn't understand spirit at all, and that I try to cohabitate the area, but it literally like shrinks your light.
Ooh, that's not good.
No, and it wasn't on purpose.
Yeah.
So I mean, I asked that too. How do you coexist with those that don't feel? I don't know. I did try.
Yeah.
But
I guess you just have to just do your best to stay in that frequency of love for you, just for you. Yeah. And if they get a chance to pick up on that, maybe that can help shift them. If it doesn't, then that's their choice, kind of.
Yeah, that's what I did. I just focused on only my light at this time, because when I was focusing on the other, it was kind of bringing me into a worried state, almost a fear state for myself. So I just focused on just keeping getting higher and higher energy and higher frequency and bringing in more love and more love. And then I was okay through the time. But then when I went to my room, then I had to surround myself with so much love and energy that I was like, went out tired.
So you can't lose yourself is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Don't love yourself enough to not lose yourself in that, and that you will have to excuse yourself if you're feeling that, because you can feel that sucking energy thing, can't you?
Yeah, I love the words "no, thank you."
Oh, That's good. Hey,
I need to
Nicole,
use
you
it
want to
more
come for this?
often.
No, thank you. No, I do not. Thank you very much. Because the thank you is always the sweet kindness, but no. But that is when you're talking earlier again, going right back to that love yourself, gratitude, all that. Loving yourself sometimes definitely saying no, thank you. And I think sometimes loving yourself is saying, standing up for yourself if you are not getting the respect. And if you're giving respect, you deserve the respect back. If you're not giving the respect, then you're going to get something. That's just kind of it.
Yeah, and yeah.
It's interesting. When you said that you came back, when you died and you came back, we have a few more minutes, by the way. If you do want to call, 879-4100, area code 435. If you want to set something up with Nicole, find out more about her, you can go to energyhealingbydesign.com and check her out. We are live on Radio St. George Facebook, 100.3 FM. When you said that you came back, you said that you decided, and we all get to decide what we want to learn, and you said that you wanted to learn forgiveness. How do we know? Because let me just say this, if you want to learn forgiveness, that means someone's not going to be nice to you and you're going to have to forgive them, right? That can be a little scary. How do we know what we came here to learn? Is it something that keeps coming up for us, perhaps? Or what would you say?
If you don't, people that repeat, they ask why they're in the same situations and they get it back and back and back.
Yeah.
It's some of them, again, it's same with they like their story, that they're afraid to know that there's something different. So I would love people just to observe for a while how many patternings and take responsibility for your part in it. There's always you show up and you decide how you're going to show up. But right now someone's connected with me.
Okay.
So I'm kind of not in a responsive way. So can we just clear this person really fast?
Absolutely. Do it. You go for it.
Connected in the heart space. So whoever has this piercing pain in their heart going out through their shoulder blade, and it's to the right, and maybe even out this arm, I think.
Okay, the right arm.
And up the neck a little bit. It's kind of just happening. So I'm going to go ahead and I am a creator. Ground myself to the earth. I accept this healing for my eye. It's good. Okay, now there's this imagine this light moving through you, and it's the color of white. And I'm just sharing with you what I see. It's a female. So as this light is surrounding your heart space, literally opening your chest up to higher understanding and joy, breathe in and extend your shoulders back. Blow that shadow energy out of your chest, and then trust that it's going into the realms of the creator, to the creator's heart of creator. And then we send it with unconditional love and forgiveness, for it's not for us to judge. And then we send our gratitude to the divine God. Now it's just moving up the neck. So whoever this is, just breathe in and out. You're going just to feel it releasing really calmly. What is moving out is just stuck fear, but it's also with some kind of a shadow attachment that just moved out very gracefully. It just didn't know the light or where to go, and now it has. So your arm is going to come back into full place, and that pin that you felt in your arm is going to dissolve. Feel like it's kind of dissolving. That will assist you in whatever that was that has been occupying that space. Now be in awareness that bringing the white light down and feeling that empty space back up is definitely going to bring you joy and a light, floaty feeling. You're going to feel a little bit floaty. And then when this happens, we love to shower you with this white light, this golden white light with silver. Play with it. This is yours. This is your connection. This is your healing. Why I don't know where we lost in transition or translation, that we couldn't do stuff joyfully and just play with our energies, because you can feel it.
So we came in with all that. All of us came in with that. Okay.
Mm-hmm. And then you're just move that through your upper body and your lower body, and you're going to feel a lot less heavy. And then when it goes into Mother Earth, we're going to create a phoenix. The phoenix is going to take that to ashes, rebirth it, and bring you back much joy and gratitude. There's a lot of lightness going down through that person, and as you bring, and I think there might be some others that have the same back issue, maybe not the complete pulsating heart problem or issue, but in the back of the neck, and then there's also some down the side of the back. That's all going to help that just move right out of your body. There we go. So I could feel, and so it is, I could feel that person connect to me, and they either want to call or they just are unsure. So I trust that assisted them and
they feel better. So maybe they'll call next week and tell us about that, right? That's the thing. See, that's the thing that people don't understand about you. And I've had the honor and the blessing to be around you enough to know that is you. I mean, you talk about sensitivity. You pick it up on a very vast space, which probably the majority of us cannot even comprehend.
No, people, I'll just get in the middle of the day or the middle of the night, I'll get up at 3 o'clock in the morning and there'll just be this energy asking me to assist them in their own energy, and I'll send energy in the middle of the night.
And you may not know them?
Sometimes I don't know them. Sometimes I do. And I've done it with you and several other people where I'll just send and get an energy. I see an energy is available to you. And so I'll just text you randomly and it seems to always work. Yeah. So something we can explain, and there's just the mechanics of what I came back just knowing the light, and I came back of just being in service to whoever needs me, and so sometimes they show up in different hours of the night.
If you would like to show up to Nicole like in person, she's up in Salt Lake area until this weekend. She'll be back in St. George next week, right, Nicole?
Yes.
Okay, so you can always go online at energyhealingbydesign.com. That's energyhealingbydesign.com. Check out more information about her. Check out how you can, get in to see her. Or if you're living far away, you can also go to energyhealingbydesign.com and you can actually, set up an appointment with her that she'll actually call. And that's a nice thing, too. We are live on Radio St. George on Facebook, Radio St. George 100.3 FM in St. George out of Dixie State University. Want to thank Sean. We're just about to wrap things up, but want to thank Sean for setting us up. It took a little while, Nicole, for us to set this up, but we're so glad to be able to thank the Lord for Skype. And thank the Lord for Sean to figure out how to do this all on the Facebook Live. And you can check it out again if you didn't get a chance to see all of it, or if you have some friends that you want to share it with. We just feel like we've got some really great information to get out there. And it's all about happy and light and love, right?
Yes, and I want to thank Autumn Jensen for letting me use her place here, and for Eric driving me around and putting stuff up, because it's, speaking of gifts, in order for me to do a lot of mine, I can't do this world stuff because I'm shifting. Yeah. And he does make sure that I get to where I need to go and that I eat, because I want to eat.
You do forget to eat, don't you? And sometimes you forget to sleep too, huh? Someone, and she didn't get to call because she was working, but someone that you have worked on was calling me or texting me today and said that that she was really concerned about your resting. And I said, well, I do bug her about resting because you do forget about the physical body because you're so much more in spirit. But she wanted to call up because she had a session with you, and she wanted to call up and talk about her session, but I think she got a little too busy, so we're going to have to get her next week to see, because she's a busy gal doing lots of stuff. But she had an amazing healing, and I haven't told you who it is, and she wanted to surprise you, and I'm bummed that she didn't get a chance to call up today. But I know that she's on the road and she's working hard, but she wanted me to pass that along to you. And anyway, so again, if you want to get a hold of Nicole, you can do that anytime at energyhealingbydesign.com. Whether she's in the St. George area or in the Salt Lake area, there's going to be a chance for you to get a hold of her. And if you are, say, I don't know, in Guam or whatever, listening or watching on Facebook, energyhealingbydesign.com, she can actually do it on the phone. And we appreciate the fact that she knows how to do that. So you've been listening to Remembering Connections with Cindy and Nicole Ashton. And we're thrilled to have Nicole up there. And Nicole, you're coming back to St. George, right? Next week, we're going to see you in the studio.
Yes, I'll be back next week.
Okay. Radio St. George 100.3 FM. Want to thank Sean Donovan again for allowing us to be in here. And we will be back next week. We may have a little change of time, but we will let you know what it is. Thanks, and have a great day.